What's up, world? Welcome back to my video, man. Welcome back to my channel, as I should say. My name is LAMARJAYSAPP. I'm a filmmaker from Brooklyn, New York, and this is my YouTube channel. It's basically taking you guys along my filmmaking journey, and I give filmmaking tips, and I do some every now and then I do some gear stuff, and I'm also keeping you guys to stay positive, keeping your mindset correct, and stuff like that. Just doing the best I can to service my community in the filmmaking forum. But moving along, let's get started with why you came here in the first place. And we're going to talk about budgeting. My last video, I talked about writing within your budget and how important it is to write within your budget so that you could see the process through. You don't have to get caught up into your project being held up or because you're not paying people right now. First of all, you don't have a lot of money to do a lot of different things, so you have to move this thing fast and get it done. And so when it comes to budgeting, it's a very sticky situation because, like I said in one of my other videos, a budget is a budget is a budget. A budget is $50 million. A budget is $10. It's a budget. If your budget is supposed to cover, if all you could offer your cast and crew is lunch and transportation, compensation for transportation, then that's what you could offer them. And some people are down for that and some people are not. In terms of monetary, I'm not talking about like credits in the film and things of that nature. I'm talking about monetary. So if all you could offer them is like lunch, which may mean pizza or whatever you guys are gonna rock with, and transportation for those who got to take a toll, who got to take extra transportation to get to you, or a Uber, a Lyft. It is what it is, right? So that's what you need to understand when you're creating your projects and you're gonna shoot it yourself, or you're gonna ask your uncle for the money, or you're gonna ask somebody else for the money. You got to have a detailed breakdown, a ballpark on what you think this is gonna cost. And you can do that when you wrote it within budget, when you kind of wrote it in a way where even if you wrote it in a Hollywood sense and then you trimmed it down to be within a budget, when you wrote it, if your cousin Bobby owns a barbershop, or your Uncle Lewis owns a restaurant, or your Aunt Deborah owns a hair salon, like what you can do within your movie. Because most of the time when you're writing your movie, you're writing within your experience in life. You're writing within the things you already know of, right? And so if you already know your cousin has this fly car that you always admire, somehow you're going to incorporate that car into the film. Now, would he let you use it? I have no control over that. But you get my drift. Like if you have a cousin that has a Rottweiler and he's pretty well trained and blah blah blah, you feel safe, you want to use that Rottweiler, go ahead. One of my first thing we shot, my best friend brother had licensed weapons, Glocks, infrared. We was able to use them. We didn't have to rent them. That stuff adds up when you're talking about budget, because everything adds up. Everything adds up, because at the end of the day, you may have to pay for some unexpected things. And that's where those dollars are going to come in at. So let's say you're shooting let me give you an example. Let's say you're shooting a 12-minute short. And let's say you got this thing down to $1,000 to shoot. That's lunch for the cast and crew, transportation, and a few things you need like props or maybe location. Now you may say $1,000 is not a lot of money, and it isn't, but when you're shooting a 12-minute short, you could really do that in a weekend. Basically, you could do that in a weekend if you design it properly. You could do it in a day if you design it properly, but let's give yourself a weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday. If you design it properly, get all the cast, because it shouldn't be 20 people in the cast anyway. It's 12 minutes. So, okay, that's something else we'll talk about. But yeah, you're paying 2 days for lunch. You might be paying about $150 or about that. Let's say Uber, Lyft, gas, or toll. Little things like that you may be paying. So you get my drift. It's like you may have to pay somebody $100 to use their spot for 30 minutes, you know what I mean, or whatever hour. Or they might be like, just give me $100 and you could do what you got to do. You're a nice guy, you're a nice young lady, I see your vision, go rock on. Things like that you may have to pay for. The person who's shooting, who's doing the DP for you. Let's say you're not shooting, you're just directing, right? You wrote it and you're directing, but your friend is doing DP. and he has the camera gear, but he's missing a piece. You may have to buy that for him, so you need a budget. In other words, you need a budget, and you want to stay beneath that budget. So if you got $1,000 and you shooting this project, you want to kind of be in an $800 situation, because I promise you, just when you think you're done, there's something needs to be done. There's something needs to be, paid for that you didn't anticipate. Maybe we got to reshoot something, right? And the cast got to come out another Saturday, or a few people, not the whole thing, but maybe 2 people got to come back out on Saturday. And this ball is rolling now. So you can't say to people, well, we got to chill, I ain't got the bread. No, because it's rolling now. That's that $200. You may be able to get something out of that $200 now for that Saturday, because you're only bringing 2 people in, the camera guy, and we may be shooting in the park for this scene, or whatever the case may be. I'm just kind of randomly throwing it out there. But that's why budgeting is important, because it gives you a margin. And I hate to be marginalized when it comes to art, but you have to be to a degree, because you can't just be willy-nilly. You can't just be all over the place. You got to have some sort of a guide in this process. And so, yeah, it's very important. So don't walk around just thinking you're just going to shoot things and do things and pretty much go in your pocket and figure it out and not know what you're doing, because I've had projects come to a halt because of lack of capital. And when I say lack of capital, I'm not talking about your money. I'm not talking about the money you feed your family with, or you're a single person, the money you pay your rent with, the money you pay your cell phone, the money you pay, whatever it is you do. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the budget for the film, for the project. That's what I'm talking about. Now, personally, and I'm speaking to my filmmaker community out there, we always trimming fat somewhere down the line. I remember doing some projects where I had to take some packages off my cable, downsize my cable. I had to downsize my phone situation, or whatever it was, take some subscriptions off, cancel some subscriptions. It's going to be no Netflix for 2 months, but that's what it was. Like, I love filmmaking. Really. So what's more important than that? Netflix or making my movie, right? So, and no hate to Netflix. Shout out to Netflix. I would like to put some of my stuff on your platform, so there's no hate. Shout out to Netflix, but you get my drift, y'all. Is that you have to be very mindful of your budget. It's very, very serious. It's very, very serious. It's crucial to the whole process of this. Very crucial. If you guys like this type of content and you like what I'm putting down, you chiming in, you tracking, I appreciate you guys wholeheartedly for checking in with your boy and supporting me. Please hit that subscribe button. Help me reach 1,000. Hit that like button. Share this. Show the algorithm that we are the algorithm. And that's what we doing out here. Okay, people? To my filmmaking community, I love y'all, man. Stay up.